Video walkthrough on a Forest River Gray Wolf. We'll start in the back. This rack does fold down. All you gotta do is pull this pin out right here and pull this large pin out right here, and the whole thing will fold down. You have one of those pins on either side. Fold down, and make sure you do repin it back in here so it's not resting directly on your bumper. Little storage right here. Access to your pump, your pump and whatnot. Everything's up in here. Right below that is your dump station. So you have your handle for your gray tank. Your gray is your shower and sink water. And you got your black tank. Your black is your toilet water. Definitely recommend making sure those valves are all the way closed before you take your cap off. And then I always do my black tank first. Let that get dumped out, and then I do my gray tank so it flushes out the hose. That way when I pick it up to carry it, it's not dripping in black tank water. Exterior shower, both hot and cold out here. 30 amp short cord. All you do is twist this on, this large thing, and then you can tighten this gray thing on it too, so it doesn't get unplugged. And you can see about how long it is. It says 25-30 feet long. Fresh water. That's where you're gonna fill your onboard fresh tank. If you use your water from your fresh tank, you need your pump to be on. Definitely recommend draining that after every trip. You don't want it sitting half full of water for a couple weeks. You drain for it is, let's see if I can't find it. It's on the other side, I believe. Yeah, it'll be on the other side. Unless it's tucked up underneath here. Yep, it's over there. There'll be a cap for it. You can kind of see it way back over there. Right next to that is your city water connection. This is where you're gonna hook your water up to. You run your water off the city water pressure, you won't need your pump in that case. Squeeze my way through here. More storage. Cable inlet, so if you go into someone that provides cable, you can hook up cable through here. Right down here are low point drains. Those are just going to be the lowest point of your water lines. There's one over there. Oh, sorry. That's overflow for your fresh tank. Those are your low point right there. And then your fresh tank, you can see, is right above it's right above the axles. Between the axles by the tires is the drain for the fresh tank. All four corners, you have these stabilizer jacks. There should be a crank in here. It's easier, well not easier, but quicker if you use a 3/4 inch socket with an adapter on a drill. They're a lot quicker to run up and down. Either way, whether you use a crank or with a drill, lubricate these often. All the moving parts, and then there's a threaded rod that goes all the way through the middle of that. You want to make sure it gets lubricated. Right here, this is going to be your cap for your fresh water. So before you fill your freshwater tank with water, while showing you where that drain is, you want to screw this cap on. And right here is your anode rod. Believe it or not, this is still got some life in it. When you have about 25% of this missing or remaining, get a new one. This has 1 or 2 years left on it, believe it or not. This is your drain plug for your /anode rod for your water heater. That goes right in here. Get it in there, get it started by hand. 1/16 is the socket size. Get her snugged up, don't over tighten it. If you want to use electric, make sure that switch right there, you turn the switch for electric is, let's see if we can find it right there, off or on. Right now it's off. Don't turn it on when there's no water in your water heater. Definitely recommend, just like your fresh tank, draining all the water out of it after every trip. You don't want it sitting half full of water, it'll get stagnant. So before you pull your drain plug out, your anode rod, you want to shut off all sources of water. Then you're going to crack your pressure relief open, just like that. Water is going to squirt out. That's fine. Once it stops, snap that closed, and then you can take the plug out. If you neglect to do this first, you're going to get a bath. And then I definitely recommend cleaning back in here and up in there. Clean out any spider webs or nests you might see. Here, lots of good information. Get your VIN on it and gross vehicle weight rating, and the most important one though is your tire pressure. 50 psi. That's what you want to make sure your tires are at. That's what they are at now, but definitely before each trip, check your tire pressures. Right up front, Group 24 RV marine grade battery. Definitely recommend taking it out in the winter, storing it somewhere warmer than being sat outside, a garage, basement, shed. Anything is better than being sat outside. Then, you don't have to take this whole cover off to get to them, but it's definitely easier to show people. Dual 20-pound cylinders, freshly filled. And you got your regulator right here. This is your selector for it. If it's pointing to this tank, it's going to pull from this tank first. Some of them are automatic changeover ones. Let's see if this one is. Yep, this is also an automatic changeover. So what that means is if this one were to get emptied and this tank were to be on, this will automatically switch to pulling from this tank. A little diaphragm in here will open up and it'll switch to this tank, provided this one were on. However, this little arrow pointing to which tank it's pulling from, so right now it's pointing to this tank, it's going to pull from this tank. This whole piece doesn't move when it switches over. So you have no way of knowing. Go up to the counter and get the telephone number, or is it on here? So you have no way of knowing if it switches over or not. And then some people have it think if you have it split in the middle like that, it's going to pull from both tanks equally. It doesn't. It's one or the other. So just pick one. I always pick one to start with on this side. So if they have to come out here, I don't have to walk all the way around, I guess. Even though it's not that big of a distance. But I always start with the driver's side tank, the passenger side tank first. Chains, obviously, you're going to cross them so they create a cradle. To catch it, 7-way, that's going to get plugged into the back of your tow vehicle so the trailer lights and brakes will work. Then you have a breakaway cable, kind of right here. That leads to a box up underneath there that'll pull the pin out of the box. If the trailer were to get unhooked from your truck, it'll pull that pin and activate the brakes on your trailer. Pre-wired for solar. You don't have solar, you're just pre-wired for one. For solar, you have to buy the kit and all that, but that's where it would get hooked up to, and all that will do is trickle charge your battery. Here's your hitch hook. There's the crank handle for your stabilizer jacks. You have an outdoor outlet right here. All your this is a GFCI outlet. All your GFCI outlets are on the same circuit, so if one will trip, they will all trip. And below that, you have cable outlets. Spot to mount a TV outside. That's why you have the cable outlets. This is used, so the mount may be gone. Maybe one of the customers traded this in, took their TV with them, and had the mount on it. But you can buy these mounts, the Paul International mounts, online. Exhaust for your furnace, just keep it clean. They do make screens for these. They really don't recommend you run your furnace with the screen on, but I see people do it all the time. You just don't take that as me telling you it's okay to do it. I've seen people do it. It'll help good to keep nests in there and road debris from building in there. Up here, if you're going to use the fan on your range hood, you want to make sure this is free and flapping around. When you travel, just move these little retainers so it's not jumping everywhere. Fridge vent. The previous owners had installed these screens, which are nice. It's going to keep anything from getting in there, building nests. I still recommend taking this whole thing off every once in a while and cleaning back there by hand. Alright, that's pretty much it for the outside. We'll head on into the inside. Right here, controls for your slide out. There's some controls for some lights. So this one right here with my fingers on does your awning lights. The one next to it does these LED lights in the slide out. This one right here does amber light, porch light. This is your entry lights, and this one is that other scare light over there. Then your controls for your awning, extend and retract. Because we have people working around here, we're not going to open this awning all the way. But you can see, once it's all the way out, you can grab this. Once it's all the way out, it'll be more in the horizontal position. You can grab down here, pull it, and that'll pitch one end of your awning down. So if it's, imagine it further out here. So if it's rainy, you can have water run off to the corner rather than all the way along the edge, or you could pitch both arms down, so if the sun's in your eyes, you can kind of block some of it with the shade of your awning. Awning does not stop automatically when it goes all the way out. You have to let off the button when you see that it's out. When you see the bare metal tube, and there's a little flap on the end of the fabric that'll hang down. When you see that, you're all the way open. If it starts, you can have it out in the rain, but if it starts getting really rainy, really windy, roll your awning in, because the wind will rip it off. Not rip it off, but it could bend an arm, it could tear your fabric. And if you roll it in wet, as soon as you get the chance to, roll it back out to let the sun dry it off so it's not retaining moisture. You have your controls for your water heater. This will turn it on and off on gas, and then your controls for your water pump. You can read battery. Battery is always going to read full when you're plugged in. Then you got fresh, black, and gray. So you can read your tank levels. Another GFCI outlet here. We'll kind of go into the bedroom. Before we go in the bedroom, you have your antenna here. Clockwise to go up, counterclockwise to go down. Once it's all the way up, you can pull this down, this whole piece down, and rotate it so you can tune in your signal. Before you lower your antenna, you want this triangle and that triangle up there to be in line, because there's a special cradle on the roof it sits on, and that's what's going to allow it to stay in line. Lights in your bedroom, just turn it on and off on the light himself. Have a light behind the bed over there. Outlets either side of the bed. Plenty of storage in here. Carbon monoxide alarm. Those use 9-volt batteries, so if they start giving you those low voltage chirps, throw a new battery in it. The bed does lift up for some storage underneath there. It's also access to that same front storage compartment. These doors, make sure when you travel they are retained like this, so they can't swing open and hit your wall. But when you want to use your door, just unclip them. Same for your other bedroom door over here. And I do believe both doors can slide open. If I'm wrong, let's see. Slide them open. That means you have to, so you can feed cable out through here. If you wanted to have a TV mounted in here somewhere, that leads to that hole right there. So up here, you have your TV and satellite. So if you have a satellite hooked up to that port on the outside, you want to switch it from TV to satellite. If you're using cable, have your booster off. If you're using your antenna, turn it on. If you have extenders with male on both ends, you can plug into here and use your radio as a DVD player, and then plug it into your TV, and then power for your TV, and then spot to mount your TV. It does look like the previous owners took the mount with them. But like I said, you should be able to buy them online. They might even be in here somewhere around in here. Your radio is very simple to use. Like I said, it does double as a DVD player as well. Volume knob, very simple. You have different zones. Zone A is inside, and Zone B is outside. So you can have outside off, inside on, inside off, outside on. You can see how that can be useful. Presets, push and hold to save your presets. You can dim your screen, scroll through your channel, pause, play, mute, AM, FM, USB/disc. So when you have a disc in there, you can do that. Auxiliary. So if you hooked up through auxiliary, and then you have a USB port right here. That's just for charging your phone. Radio is very simple to use. Coming along through here, microwave only works when you're plugged in. Other than that, it's like a traditional, like your microwave at home. Light, fan. Like I said, if you're going to run this fan, make sure that flap on the outside is open. Cooktop's very simple. Turn the light, twist your sparker, shoot lights right up. All 3 burners work the same way. Oven works a little bit differently. So what you do, you turn this to pilot on, push and hold. As you're pushing and holding this in, you're going to come down here, and you're going to look for, there's a pilot in there. You can kind of see it right there. Once you get a long barbecue lighter or a match, whatever you have, push and hold this. As you're pushing and holding, you're going to try to get that pilot to light. Once the pilot is lit, you can then turn this to your desired temperature. And then you'll be good to go. If you plan on cooking again in a few hours, when you turn this off, if you turn it to pilot on, it shuts the burners off, leaves the pilot on. That way you don't have to relight it. I 100% recommend turning that pilot off if you're going to leave this trailer for any period of time longer than half an hour and before you go to bed. Fridge, very simply, you have one button, on or off. You gotta push, hold it to turn it off. So its only mode is automatic, so that's good because that's the mode I generally recommend people use. Automatic's going to default to 110, so if you're plugged in, that's what it's going to use. If it loses power, someone will unplug you on accident, this is going to automatically switch to running off of propane, provided your propane is on. Now, unlike your fridge at home, this works a little bit differently. This is going to take anywhere from 8 to 10 hours. Could be even more if it's very hot outside, to get to its operating temperature. So keep that in mind. I always recommend, if you can, plug it in the night before or the morning before your trip. Let it get as cold as it can, and then if you have an hour drive, you should only have 1 or 2 hours when you get to the campground just to wait before it gets up to temp, rather than waiting almost 10 hours to be able to use your fridge again. Breaker box. All your breakers for your 120 volt appliances, all your fuses for your 12 volts, so you have all 15s and 240s. I definitely recommend keeping some spare fuses with you. This couch right here turns into a bed. Lift up, pull out, and down. Nice spot for one shorter person, or two shorter person if you really want to squeeze them in. Both lights above the slide out, you turn on and off on the lights themselves. Table turns into a bed too. Very simple. Lift up the table, pop the legs off, set them aside. The table will then rest on this little shelf here. Then you use these two smaller square cushions right there and that larger rectangular one to lay on this table while it's on down to create a platform to sleep on. Thermostat, very simple to use. The first thing it'll ask is what fan mode you want, auto, high, or low. I recommend auto. Auto is going to allow your AC and furnace to cycle on and off at its desired temperature. Well, not desired, but your set temperature. So if you had it set to 65, once your AC hits 65, it'll shut off. Then as it kind of gets warmer in here, it'll cycle back on to kind of bring down the temperature. Cycling on and off is going to help prevent it from freezing up, from overrunning, like it would do if you had it running on high. If you had it on high in 65, I mean, it's going to keep running even if it gets past 60, a little colder than 65 degrees in here, and eventually it'll freeze up. So once you do that, tap it again. Once you select the manual, tap it down. Your AC goes all the way down to 55. Boom. And then hit it again, and your furnace goes all the way to 90. Hit it again, turn everything off. Very simple to use. The 3 buttons on our modes, up and down. Bunks, you have a ladder, very easy to use, but you can see, do make sure you put your ladder back in its stored position before you operate your slide out, or you can damage your ladder or your slide out fascia. Light switch there. Lights there, again, turn on off at a fixture. You have an outlet up there, so the top person on the top bunk can have their phone charged at night, or you can have someone with a longer cord down below and have their phone be able to get charged. So it's a nice setup here. Right below that, propane. Is this propane? Yep, propane gas detector. So that's hardwired to the 12-volt system. There's no batteries you have to worry about changing. Nice large storage pantry. And here's your bathroom. The nice thing about this bathroom is it has a separate access door, so people aren't cutting in and out of your camper to use their bathroom if you have guests. Right here, got your main resetting GSI. This is the GSI you're going to hit reset on. If anyone were to trip. Toilet, very simple to use. As long as you're pushing this pedal, it's going to continue to flush. Shower, very simple. Knobs to turn water on and off. Turn them on, lift this up. It's going to divert water to your shower head. You do have a fan in here. So crank this up to open the lid. On or off switch right there. That's what I would definitely recommend, running that fan if you're going to take a shower in here, just to kind of get some of the moisture out of the air. Alright, and then one last thing. Oh, well, two last things rather. Smoke alarm. Again, like your CO2 detector, not CO2, carbon monoxide detector. They use your 9-volt batteries. So again, low voltage, start put a new battery in it. And then you do have over here a fire extinguisher. That fire extinguisher is brand new. So in 10 years, you're going to want to get that fire extinguisher replaced. But your smoke alarm, LP detector, and carbon monoxide alarm are as old as this unit is. So I don't know the year of this unit, but you take the year of the unit. From that, you have 10 years from that date So in 10 years from today, this date, 2020, you will need to get a new fire extinguisher. 10 years from the date of manufacturer, you're going to need to get new smoke alarms, new LP detector, and new carbon monoxide alarm. Just as some peace of mind so you know they're going to operate when you need them to. All right, well, that concludes our virtual tour, our video walkthrough on your Grey Wolf. I hope you folks enjoy using this trailer. I really like this bunker house setup, so I hope you guys do too. And hope you found the video informative. Goodbye.